Welcome back to Captain America Super Soldier. So let's see, as mentioned, how Steve will get out of this one. He's literally confined to a table.
Strapped to a chair as a woman walks over
In the
him.
meantime, I have other
God, I
guests
wish
to
that were
attend
me.
to. I wouldn't want your friends to feel
She literally
What,
has.
having your frame rate cut?
Solo doesn't
Also, she
object.
literally has green
Don't you
hair.
know, Dwibs? Having my movement to slow down to a crawl is my secret fetish.
Also, I see that she dyed her hair green.
Yeah, that's to keep. We actually get to the real that talks a bit about Madame Hydra in this very part. But here's the deal. Now Steve is confined in a vertical prison, strapped in a cell that's right in the middle of it, and with an electric gate blocking the exit. So how to get out of it? And as Madame Hydra said, she has apparently captured the other invaders, and she's gonna potentially torture them. So we need to get to them and fast.
Now, thankfully, the story does give a good reason for why they keep Captain America alive and don't just kill him.
Oh yeah,
They
that's
want his
also another thing.
blood.
You're stripped of your shield. Now you can actually. It will be actually a while before you actually retrieve it. So you're on your own for a while. It's actually a nice way to incorporate a section where the character is stripped of his power for a bit. It actually reminds me a lot of stuff like Half-Life 2, where you get the gravity gun away. You get actually pulled away the gravity gun from you for a while. You have to rely on your own.
Yeah, you will feel naked without that shield.
Well, Steve will find a way. For now, we just need to take advantage of instead of our acrobatics, and just throwing punches. The shield in combat was actually just an extra that actually did help, but for combat we still should be fine for the most part, as long as raged enemies don't show up, which thankfully they don't do around this part. The game is not that dickish. But here's another cool mechanic. Some parts of the wall are weak, the structure are weak, so Steve can actually pull a Kool-Aid Man and actually burst through them. Just watch. Oh yeah! Seriously. And you have to do that a lot in this section.
That's right. My name is Captain America, and I can punch
What
through
you gonna
walls.
do when we come from you now? Sorry.
Okay. Time to put my ever-loving resume of gymnastics into play here.
Yep. Hey, that's the thing, Dweebs. Sorry, that's the thing, Jova. The actual training course from the training boot camp actually produces good effects, because even if Steve was, lagging behind because of his physique, he actually was a good, good listener and watcher. So he did learn, the stuff that you need to apply in military jobs. So with now the proper physique, he's actually capable of doing this stuff.
Precisely. It all comes together.
This particular level, like I mentioned, works more vertically than anything. There you go. If you're lost, you can press I think R3 to activate a sort of detective mode, like Batman Arkham Asylum, that only basically highlights the point where Steve can take to use to his advantage, like a ladder to go up, or a pole to swing by, or walls to be destroyed in this case. So even if you get lost, there are ways to actually, orient yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if we... Oh.
Sorry, go on.
I don't know if we talked about this, but yeah, I do like how the game has a good variety in its level design as well, which you don't see a lot in licensed games. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not to say that licensed games can't be good, but even the good ones tend to, repeat a formula. Case in point, the Lego games.
And keep in mind that this takes place all in the same building, Castle Zemo. It's paradoxical in the length what Spider-Man Edge of Time should have been, taking advantage of the different locales, and showcasing different varieties and size of the places you go. But unfortunately, instead, it constructed the rooms very similar to each other and just give them different aesthetics to them. Thankfully, you don't have that many collectibles to find here, only in the final room. Unfortunately, I think I edited most of them out, but unfortunately, since I didn't know a gameplay playthrough, I tried to scan the map multiple times here just to be safe. Because again, that's actually one thing. Unlike with something like 4, this game, being, cool, at least fun to play, actually encouraged me to, find all the secret collectibles and everything, and actually, explore every nook and cranny to find all I could. I know it's a very simple statement to make, but yeah, if you make your game enjoyable, you will actually encourage your player base to actually go the extra mile and find everything. Keep in mind, keep in mind, I don't mind if there are cases where the difficulty ramps up to do so, because the golden rule of a quest in general, whatever side or main, should be first and foremost the challenge. Yes, you can construct a narrative to it to make it more robust, but I do believe the challenge should be also a priority, unless you're constructing the entire game around it. For example, most side quests in Inokuni will prioritize but even the first game prioritize also the narrative, because they're tied to the characters that are you need to recruit for your kingdom, for example. So while the structure of the quest is relatively simple, like go defeat the monster here or go collect the things here, and then deliver them, it's the rewards, it's knowing the history of these characters and the player's judgment about that. Did these people were good or not? Instead, something a bit more old school, like games like Baldur's Gate, will provide you instead challenge by not giving you that much indication, just telling you from the quest what they need. Like, give me, I forgot which specific game, but it's actually used as an example where you need to retrieve a weapon from an orc. The easy solution is that there's an orc camp near the place where you're actually given the quest, but you're very under-leveled at that point, so the orc will actually use your colon as basically whatever you can conjure for that. But if you explore enough the world, you will find ways to, different solutions for the quest that actually give you the same result. Like, for example, there's an injured orc in a cave, or you can potentially recruit a companion from a city to actually go hunt another orc, or there's a place that actually has an orc weapon laying around it, but it's actually more manageable to take on, So there are different solutions, but the quest instead gives you actually still a challenge for it, So in a way, it depends on how you want to balance the game and how you want to create it in the first place. For example, this one, while it's technically not hard, not easy on its own, it's still actually a bit more easy than the average, especially licensed, beat 'em ups in terms of enemy types and difficulty in finding the collectibles, for example, the exploration and platforming. This game is still very generous even in hard mode, But thanks to its narrative and the satisfaction in combat, it does provide, an enjoyable experience that doesn't make you think too much about that issue, and it can be actually used instead as someone's first game for the genre, which, to be fair, some of these last games, that's their audience they were built on, teenagers, or at least people 12 plus, for example, so it's an ideal first game for you to tackle this kind of thing, so it's actually pretty nice.
I think it really shows the fact that, unlike the other MCU tie-ins where we pretty much spent most of the game pretty much banging up a storm about how bad the games were, this one, it's quite the opposite. If anything, we've had pretty much nothing but good and positive stuff to say about this game.
You don't really play
that are attached to it.
You don't really play this game to get the Dark Souls of licensed beat 'em up games, but you do it if you're a fan of Cap, and the MCU as a whole.
And even keep in mind,
I do believe the rules that I said to the other games still applies here. I still don't think this was worth $60 at launch, though.
Yeah.
Because that was the standard. Thankfully, these days, companies have toned down their prices, but back then, every single licensed game costed just much like any AAA title. I don't think that was fair enough.
In the case of this game,
Sorry, go on.
In the case of this game, it's because of the length. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but considering the length of it, it's not what I would say $60 worth.
I'd say a solid 40 is fine. This is actually one of the more expensive games that you can find online, that I can find a copy online for. I think I actually spent like $30, but I do believe this is actually one case where I actually think my monies were well spent for this one. In
Good on
contrast, stuff like Iron Man, I got to spend $10 on it. I do think it was still way too much for what the game was.
Oh yeah, but Tio, isn't that made by us your favorite dev company who made that Golden Axe Rider game that you
We'll
love
get
so
to
much?
it at some point.
Oh, will we ever?
Oh, you're still up? Oh well.
Okay, you know what? You survived longer than the others. Here's your reward.
Boot to the head.
Yep. You got America's boot to the head.
There you go. I think actually we're about to get the film reel about Madame Hydra. But first, let's clean also these enemies. Yeah, very good. Like I said, you don't have your shield for this segment, so the challenge consists in finishing the combat without having to rely on it, which, fair enough, no major enemies carry around guns, so you don't have to worry about being, blindsided by them. It's all about also... I don't think actually... I'm sure, I think the shield also prevents you from countering, but you can still dodge the attacks if you want, so the game actually has an alternative. Yes, actually, so that was actually a nice combat maneuver.
I love the way that he punches looks so lackadaisical, yet it packs.
Sorry, Luke, can you repeat?
I love the way that, his punch, Captain America's punches just then looked lackadaisical, and yet it still knocked the guy out.
Alright, let's hear about Miss Hydra.
I have placed a most ambitious woman in charge of the cell blocks. Current mores dictate that women are delicate flowers, best used to breed the next generation of perfection. As a scholar, I know this to be...
What do you know
look
about
at
things?
that. He's a feminist.
What do you think Arnim Zola is actually very progressive?
But I believe we have one here. At my suggestion, the rank of Madame Hydra has been awarded to
Congratulations.
She declines genetic augmentation. Certain stereotypes, such as a woman's vanity, are, after all...
Shiroi, can you say anything about it?
Ordnance from my labs.
Guess
I
not.
was able to shrink the
I guess I'll ask later.
two fully automatic high-powered rifles to the size of a pair
So
of
they're going with the
pistols.
version of Madame
Again,
Hydra
too
who's
costly
not
for mass
superpowered
production,
but is
but
very adept
that
with
she needs no
weaponry.
Yeah, she still has the love for poison and two automatics, but she doesn't have the whip in this case, though.
Basically, audience, for general basics, Madame Hydra occasionally does have powers or doesn't. I forget. Does she have like a different incarnations as well, or is it just the one character?
I
who
think it's
eventually
she's
gets powers?
still D1, but
True, there have been accidents.
Accidents,
yeah. Well, they're prisoners, dweebs. Nobody cares after all. Am I right? Well. But yeah, mostly the most consistent streak is that she's fond of poison, as also Zola said here, for example.
Basically, she occasionally has powers. Does she currently have them now, or did she get depowered?
I don't know. I actually don't know where was the last appearance of her.
Most notable was that time when they kind of made her a human snake and she shed her skin every now and then.
Oh, she was part of the Snake Society too.
Well, remember, Tio, that's kind of what they
Society.
that's kind of what they based her incarnation in the Wolverine off of.
True.
That said, though, that was like a kind of okay, we don't really remember that, no need to bring it up sort of thing.
Alright, yeah, Jova, there are different incarnations, so let me see
That would probably explain it.
which one I remember the most. Let me get here, gonna give me a second. Ophelia Sarkeesian, oh man, that's unfortunate. Madame Hydra the 6, Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, and Eliza Sinclair. Let me check specifically. The more recurring one is the first one that I mentioned, called Viper, mostly code name.
I'm guessing Ophelia is the one who was a snake, pretty much.
Let me check. No. There you go.
To base. Come in. Over.
Hold on. In the meantime.
Captain, it's Peggy. Thank God you're alive. What's your status?
I'm in a prison complex. Probably underground. They took the shield and my supply belt. Has there been any word from the invaders?
They all bailed out before the crash.
Oh well.
Gabriel and Marita have set up some small artillery on the nearby hillside. They said Bucky, Falsworth, and Dugan bailed out.
There you go. Marita is actually
Madame
entrenched
Hydra.
himself, so he's gonna be
Probably
fine
nearby.
for most of the game. But instead, Dugan, Bucky, and Falsworth has been captured.
Without your shield will take getting used to.
I'm gonna search the area. Try to determine where they're being held. Radio Marita and tell him to stand by for coordinates. From what I've seen down there, I may need that artillery. Rogers, out.
Alright then, that's where we need to go then. But anyway, there you go, Jova. The one I gave you, Ophelia, is actually the most recurring Madame Hydra, the one I actually do remember. So I guess, yeah, she was also the one that got her sneak period.
Huh. Yeah, it makes sense because of the name Ophelia.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's your favorite incarnation?
The classic.
Makes
Keep
sense.
in mind, apparently Eliza is the more recent one that has showed up in the more recent, you know, issues, like the one, it's starting from the ones where you know, we were conned Nazi Cap to be, you know, just brainwashed.
Ah, yeah, the Nick Spencer era.
Although, apparently Madame Hydra also shows up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I actually don't remember her.
Oh, wait, you mean
it's been
the
a while,
show?
actually, since... sorry?
Oh, you mean Victoria Hand?
No. She's called Aida in the instances, played by Mallory Jansen.
Oh, yeah, okay, basically, bit of context here. In the real world, she starts off as an LMD, a life model decoy, essentially a robot, but then eventually gains sentience. And let's just say she becomes Madame Hydra in this weird matrix of sorts. It's
Yeah,
pretty
get
much
this.
the Matrix.
She actually get destroyed by Phil Coulson, who borrows the power of the Ghost Rider. That's metal.
I know, right? Oh, right. I keep forgetting that you also watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking forward to what's apparently going to be the last season, which is time travel.
We'll see. Well, keep in mind, as you were just guessed by now, Jova, I have to catch up on a lot of things on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, you probably haven't seen seasons 5 through 6 then.
Anyway, new enemy type, the Warden. These don't have a range of weapons, but they have the Claw implanted and a Iron Shield, meaning that they can parry most of your attacks, so you actually need to be smart and mostly counter their moves. There we go, like this. And stay down. Also, that ragdoll physic. And now, time for the introduction of the main, the last major power-up. When you have four bars, you can activate the Super Soldier mode, which is basically... Think of it, Pedro, like Rampal Olympus for the God of War games. You basically are invincible and one-shot enemies all over the place.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Actually, again, we need to get to the lab to actually retrieve Cap's shield. Here we go. But yeah, Jove, honestly, the Marvel series I actually have been honestly falling out a bit of. Not really for, you know, me not liking them, but simply because I didn't have that much time. But honestly, like I said, I do look forward to some of the Disney Plus series, you know, and I actually do like the also yeah, that's.
Shield is too.
I do like the fact that now, for Phase 4 onward, we're actually expanding on a lot more characters and integrating them more. So we'll actually have to see what happens also to the old ones, if they're actually reintegrated or not.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wouldn't mind. I actually wouldn't mind the Runaways to keep going and actually be canonized much properly, mind you, because there is nice stuff you can do with them.
How about that Cloak and Dagger show?
I actually haven't seen it. The trailer didn't convince me, to be honest.
Me neither.
Look, it honestly, I didn't even follow that much of the comic line, so I don't know much. What are the themes explored by the duo? But the trailer made it look like a teen romance kind kind of story. Of course, maybe I get it wrong anyway, so we'll see.
No, I get it. I mean, I wasn't even really that interested to check it out either. I mean, the concept seems interesting, but everything I've read of Cloak and Dagger hasn't really kept my interest much.
Doesn't help that around this time most of the series were actually scattered a bit all over the place, and not just Netflix. But thankfully now Disney Plus is basically uniting all of them under one banner.
A Bruce Banner by any chance?
No. Especially because the She-Hulk series stars Jennifer Walters. True, I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Ruffalo has a cameo here and there. So
Again, remember, Droops, the deal is that Hulk has to show up with another hero in something.
well,
Otherwise,
apparently,
yeah,
I don't know, Joe. Apparently, that may apply just to the movies and not necessarily to the TV show. That's why we can do She-Hulk now. I don't know. It's so complicated.
Although one would have to wonder if it's his movie likeness, if that would then apply to the TV show. And God, I hate legal issues.
An underground railway. That must be how they keep this place supplied.
Huh.
No, I'm giving the opposite, Joe. I love legalists, I'm kidding.
Well, maybe attorneys and prosecutors love legal issues because they can profit on them. Anyway, see you for the next part where we get back Cap's shield.
When we
see
get
ya.
Captain America's mighty shield. See you then.
See ya.